There have been hundreds of people relocating to this area from around the world for the past 25 years and even beyond that. But if you've just arrived and you're trying to figure out the best way to connect to local services, and especially trying to figure out the best way to connect to local employment opportunities, what will you do? Well, you might just want to speak to my next guest here on Telile 24/7. She is the Immigration Settlement Officer for the YREACH program located at the Port Hawkesbury Civic Centre, and her name is Trina Samson. Trina, we're very happy to have you. Welcome to Telile 24/7.
Thank you, Adam. Yeah. I'm really excited to be here.
All right, well, we're excited to have you here because you've got a lot to talk about, and I'd like to begin by getting you to give us a bit of a commercial, kind of a breakdown of what YREACH does. What exactly does the program do?
Sure. So YREACH is immigration settlement, and exactly that's what it is. So if you're a newcomer and you're coming to Cape Breton Island, my area basically is Inverness, Richmond, and part of Victoria County right up to Bedeque. And what I do is I help immigrants settle within the area. That could be with regards to getting a Canadian driver's license, to drawing up their resume. Possibly it is starting up a business in the area, and I even go as far as going in the classroom with immigrated children to help them with their studies.
Now, a big reason we wanted to have you in is because I think there are a lot of folks who've lived here for a long time that don't understand how difficult it can be for someone who's just moved to the area. So can you give us just a couple of examples, not naming names, of course, but of instances where you've seen someone come to you with something that we might take for granted, having lived here for a long time, but might be a little more difficult for someone who's just come to the area from another country?
Right. It's interesting because we're fortunate that our primary language is English and French. We can get by as being from this community. But if you are not an English or French speaker, sometimes you can face a lot of challenges. Language is so important for so many people, and it affects your social being, it affects your employment, it affects your learning. So hugely, language can be number one issue that people will come see me because YREACH does offer free English classes in the Strait area.
Well, that in itself is very helpful as well. And one thing I did want to ask you about too is about the ways that you can connect people to employers who might be interested in hiring folks from different parts of the world who have settled in the area to increase the diversity in their employee line as well. And one of the ways that the federal government has launched to be able to put that all together is called the Atlantic Immigration Pilot. That's been going for a few years. Can you give us a bit of background on what exactly that is and how it could be helpful?
Yes, it's a wonderful program that a little bit of history on it. So back in 2007, we had 151,000 people here on Cape Breton Island. Within 10 years, so 2017, we were down to 131,000 people. So basically, out-migration, baby boomers dying off, our numbers had decreased by about 20,000, and people not having as many children as they used to. So this obviously affects employers, it affects our schools closing, people cannot find people to work in their businesses, so businesses become seasonal or they close altogether. So the provinces, the Atlantic provinces, went to the federal government and said, this is so important, we really need people to come in and grow Cape Breton Island, and not just Cape Breton Island, but all of Atlantic Canada. So they put together a proposal and they went to the federal government and said, can we try this pilot program of bringing newcomers in for full-time employment, filling the job needs, labor, right from being maybe working in a restaurant to hotels to truck drivers and helping businesses grow. And so it did become a pilot program, and it has been growing ever since. It started off that the federal government gave each province of the Atlantic provinces 800 people a year, and the 800 people were the candidates, but it also was able to encompass their families. So you might be the person that will be working in the position, but you're able to take your spouse and your children also through the program. So within getting a job offer to actually doing your paperwork and coming to start working here, you would get your permanent residency within about 6 months. This was so wonderful and so enticing for so many really great qualified people to come to Atlantic Canada. Since then, the program has grown. We have 1,200 positions this year to offer to candidates in Nova Scotia. The program actually became full last year by about October. So we were waiting for candidates to be able to push through the program again here in January. So it's full force again. I have seen success in it. I have seen people come, they are working, they have received their permanent residency, they have brought their children, now their spouse may be working in the area. So it's been a wonderful program. It started as a pilot, but we're really, really hoping that the government continues and it becomes one of the regular programs that brings newcomers to the island.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned the growth rate for the Atlantic Immigration Project and for the success that the pilot has had as well, too.
Yes.
Because I was curious, you were telling me just before we started this conversation that within your office as the Immigration Settlement Officer, your number of clients has grown over the 3 years that you've been there. Can you tell me a little bit about that and what you think that means for the future of the area?
Absolutely. So I started this position back 3 years ago at the 1st of February. And when I first started the position, that office, which was in existence about 9 months, had 29 active clients. As of right now, I have 186 active clients, and that may mean I have had clients that have started with me but may not need my services anymore, or may only come back to see me in a year's time if they need assistance. But actively right now I have 186 clients. So that in itself shows the growth of newcomers coming to the island, which is wonderful. A lot of my newcomers, Adam, are entrepreneurs. So they're starting their own businesses here, which is wonderful, and they are employing Canadian-born people. So it's a wonderful off-spin. Not just are they filling through the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program positions that were available that we weren't able to find candidates or people to work at here locally, but the growth, they're bringing other newcomers, and they're employing people that were born here, and it's wonderful. It's nice to see that come together.
That's fantastic. And beyond the numbers, I wonder if you could speak to just a couple of examples that you might have of personal relationships that you've developed with folks in this area. And I mean, the thing that really sticks out to me personally is the flag raising ceremony that was held just this past year for the Strait Area Filipino Society, where the actual Philippine flag was risen above the Port Hawkesbury Civic Centre. So it seems like not only are these communities growing and strengthening themselves here, but the community right here in the Strait is embracing them as well.
Absolutely. It is phenomenal. It's heartwarming. So we've been fortunate enough to have a number of Filipinos come to the area, and they have created their own society, and I'm lucky enough, I feel like I've become family in that organization. I wear my t-shirt proudly. And we did host an event. I hosted an event at the Port Hawkesbury Civic Centre where I was able to invite not only our Filipino community, but also others from the Strait area to come and celebrate. So we did a flag raising, and we did some cultural things like watching videos from the Philippines. We shared food, and they did dancing, and it was a fantastic event. That is just one way we celebrate the different cultures in the Strait area. We also, on a regular basis, I host a multicultural potlucks at the Civic Centre. So not just my Filipino community, although they do take a very strong part in it, but also people from many different countries. I would say approximately over 40 countries in the area come, and they take part in those multicultural potlucks. So members of the community are always welcome. It is open to the public, and they will come with a dish of their own tradition. So maybe you were born in Canada, but your ethnic background is Ukrainian. So you bring a Ukrainian meal, and we share. together. So you may get to try food from the Ukraine, from Germany, from the Philippines, from Mexico, from Jamaica. And we celebrate with food, which is always a common ground with many people, but we also celebrate with music and dance. And I have a rule that everybody that comes in, before they leave, I ask them to introduce themselves to 5 people they've never met before. So it makes everybody feel welcome and part of the community. And those friendships grow. So I've been fortunate to be invited to weddings, to baptisms, to someone having a baby at a hospital because they have no other family here. So I feel blessed because I become part of their family, and not just myself, but I notice that people from the Philippines welcome people from Jamaica in their home, and local people welcome people from Germany in their home, and it grows, and it's amazing, and it's welcoming, and it feels just great.
The welcoming nature of these events I've experienced myself, because I was at the Strait Area Filipino Society event, but also at a couple of the multicultural potlucks as well too. So good food and great people over there all the way around. So
absolutely,
good stuff.
It's amazing.
I'm glad you talked about the idea of welcoming, because through your putting your other hat on as a dance instructor for many years, how deeply ingrained the Scottish and Celtic traditions are here, as well as the Acadian traditions. And it's been said more than once that has been an impediment to a degree to bringing more people in here. Not so much that we celebrate our tradition, but that it's been difficult for Cape Breton as a whole to reach beyond the "what's your father's name" mentality.
Right.
That if you're not immediately connected to a family that's been here for generations, you're not necessarily welcomed. Is that attitude changing? Are you see it breaking down in the local communities as people welcome new people in?
Honestly, I do see it. And I honestly can say I've had family members that I've had to educate on how bringing new people in, and how they're not coming here to take anyone's job by any means. They're coming here because there's jobs available and they can't fill them locally. So educating people has been huge for me on why this is happening. And do I see it change within the culture? Yeah, I think, for myself, in my responsibility, it is part of my role to make sure that people feel that I have Scottish background, but I also want others to feel that there's no reason that I can't embrace the Ukrainian background or the German background. And I educate even my own family members on that. And at this point, they're very proud to say that, even my own children, I have 2 in the military, and they say, my mom is welcoming people here from other countries all the time. And so my children will bring up the fact that, there's someone in my platoon that's from Korea, or there's someone in my platoon that's from China. And it's great. It feels good, and you can tell that they are proud.
That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So as we wind down this interview, I'll ask, where do we go from here? What are a couple of the next projects or the next programs that we'll see from YREACH over the next little while? Is there anything on your docket immediately?
Absolutely. I'm excited. So coming this June, there is a committee, and we are putting together a multicultural festival.
Okay.
So that is going to happen starting on June the 1st, which is our First Nations Celebration Day. So stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of details. Festival will start on the Sunday, and it will end on the following Saturday. Every day there is going to be different culture celebrated within that time, and in different communities throughout the Strait area. So we have a celebration starting in Port Hawkesbury, but we will also have a celebration ending in Petit de Gras. There will be celebration in Lord Base, in Chapel Island. There will be celebration in Dundee. So it's going to encompass a whole area of all different cultures. And we're looking forward to everybody coming out to be invited and to take part. So if anybody is interested in helping out, we will never say no to an extra set of hands, but it will give people the opportunity to learn about cultures that are already existing here and cultures that are coming into our communities all the time, and celebration of food and dance and music, and it's going to be so lovely. So I'm really excited about that happening.
Well, we're looking forward to that, and I'm hoping we'll be able to have our Telile cameras on hand for a couple of these events as well, too.
And I also wanted to mention, Adam, if you don't mind, I am the co-chair of the Cape Breton Local Immigration Partnership. That is a council of 30 professionals from around Cape Breton Island, and we meet quarterly and in between sometimes. And so the Local Immigration Partnership has put together a website which has a service map. So it's all the services here on Cape Breton Island. So even if you're not necessarily a newcomer from outside of Canada, but you may be a newcomer from British Columbia or Winnipeg, that service map is available to anybody and everybody. So you may be looking for a doctor or a place to get your tires changed. So if you look up the Cape Breton Local Immigration Partnership, it is under the umbrella of the Cape Breton Partnership. There is a website, and that service map is there for everyone to use. And I think it's a fantastic tool, and I wouldn't want to pass up the opportunity to tell everybody, even if you're a local and you're looking for something, I think it's a great tool for everyone, and I would hope that people would take advantage of using it.
I'm glad you brought that up. That sounds very handy and very helpful, for sure.
Yes.
And while we're talking about web links and such, if anybody wants to reach you or reach the YREACH program, either by phone or email or on the web, how would they do that?
So I am at the Port Hawkesbury Civic Centre. My office is just down the corner by the Shannon Studio. They can also reach me via telephone at 902-631-2563, or they can email me at trina.samson@halifax.ymca.ca. So that's my direct email.
That's how we find you, and I'm very glad that we found you here in the green corner for us today on Telile 24/7. Trina Samson, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Adam.
Wonderful.
I really appreciate you calling me up, and I love talking about my job. It's fantastic.
Well, we're happy to hear from you about it, and we hope to hear more in the future about how it's all coming together.
Great, thank you.
Right. Our guest has been Trina Samson. She is the Immigration Settlement Officer at the YREACH office at the Port Hawkesbury Civic Centre.